Hello and welcome to this video, Observing Your Home. The objective of this video is to identify and document the date of your home by looking at its building styles and features, to discover when it was constructed, if it was modified in the past, if there is a secret history to your home about its construction that needs careful unpicking. Homes come in all shapes and sizes. I carefully use the word home here because where you live may not have started life as a traditional house, but it might have been a pub or a school, a mill, or even a Victorian factory or a Tudor parade of shops. There are many resources to help you date your property by looking at the building style, the materials used in its construction, and its architectural look and feel. The reading list for this module gives a selection of books and online resources you can use to start dating your home. Look at the various features within your home. Inside bathrooms were generally only built as part of properties from the 1950s or the 1960s onwards. I have lived in several houses with outside toilets in outhouses, and a bedroom has been partitioned to form a bathroom, or an extension has been built onto the property to house the bathroom. Likewise, houses in the past weren't built with a dedicated kitchen. Open files or ranges in the main living room were often used in the past. So be on the lookout for signs that rooms have been repurposed for uses such as kitchens or bathrooms. Use the worksheets in this module to help document anything that could help you pinpoint a date. But be wary and cautious, as modern features, even chimneys, can be added at much later dates. Look at the roof of your home. Don't forget to photograph it. You may need to use some of the resources detailed in the reading list to identify its materials. Other fabric, such as thatch, will be obvious. If your roof has tiles, were they machine-made or handmade? Have any of the tiles been reused from other buildings? There's many a Roman tile that has been snuck into a Georgian or Victorian roof. Look at the style of your door. The architectural style of your doors could help you date your home. This splendid Tudor doorway is thought to date from 1485, a key date in the history of England when the first Tudor monarch came to the throne after the Battle of Bosworth defeated the last Plantagenet king. The then occupant of this house, John de Vere, the Earl of Oxford, had been a key part of leading the first Tudor king, Henry VII, to victory at Bosworth. This elaborate doorway, built shortly after the battle. Incidentally, this is the second most photographed doorway in Britain, number 10 Downing Street being the first. This doorway also shows the heritage of this house, a 16th century Tudor hall house. The doorway is thought to be of the same date, but be careful with such light doors, as they could have been added at a later stage to the building's main construction. All sorts of features could be added during a house's lifetime. We can clearly see in this picture of this splendid doorway that a drain pipe was added at some point, and it looks to be from the 19th century or early 20th century. Windows too can help date a property, although of course windows can and were changed over time. Be wary of bricked up windows. Many people think that this was done because of the window tax, an unpopular tax that was levied on people between 1696 and 1851. Bricked up windows in older homes could be because of window tax and the former occupants' reluctance to pay duty. But if the bricking up was done after 1851, it could have been done for aesthetic reasons, to make the building look more appealing. In this example, the central building in this photograph taken in the early 1900s show that there is a middle window on the first floor, visible above the horse's head. But in this modern view, there is no longer a middle window. As the first image is long after the end of window tax, then this bricking up was done for other reasons, not because of the dreaded tax. Your home may have other external features, and these could be exclusive to your part of the country. For example, where I live, pargeting, a decorative plasterwork, is very common on both ancient and modern buildings. Undertaken by a master craftsman, in the past, pargeting showed the house owner's status and importance. What's your local building styles? Don't forget to record all your observations in the worksheets. A common feature with Georgian or Victorian or Edwardian houses were for date plaques to be placed on them in a prominent position at the front. Some may even have a name or initials. This could give a lead to the name of the builder or architect. Caution needs to be taken with these date plaques, and you have to ask questions of them. Is this the date the house or terrace was built, or is this when renovation work was undertaken? Make a note of this date on the worksheets and then investigate if this is the date the house was built or a date of another purpose. Some Victorian terraces were named after an important event. The Victorians had the habit of naming terraces or a pair of semi-detached houses after events, such as Queen Victoria's Jubilee. Be careful when dating any house name like Jubilee Terrace or Jubilee House. Whose Jubilee? Queen Victoria's or Queen Elizabeth II? Victorian red brick houses are often very prescriptive in their style, but be wary with any Jubilee-based names. Queen Victoria had two Jubilees, one in 1887 and the other in 1897. Make sure you find the correct Jubilee for your house, although some helpfully will give you the date too. Other popular Victorian names for houses were to commemorate British battles during the Crimean and Boer War. This one, Alma, was another popular name for houses. It commemorated a bloody battle that took place during the Crimean War in 1854. Because of its name, this smaller group of houses have to have been built after 1854. Roads and terraces named after Boer War battles were also popular by late Victorian and Edwardian builders. There's plenty of Mafeking roads across the country, and they are normally next to roads named such as Kimberley Road and Ladysmith Road, all marking important stages of the Boer Wars. On your worksheets, make notes of other marks or plaques on your property that could help you in your search for your house's secrets. Look at this strange mark on this splendid Tudor fireplace. This magnificent fireplace is part of Lavenham's Jewel, its stunning medieval Corpus Christi Guildhall. This mark was incised into the fireplace sometime during the 16th or 17th century as a protection against witches and evil spirits. Its precise date is not known, but as the infamous Matthew Hopkins, the self-styled witchfinder general, was present in Lavenham in the 1640s, purging the town of its witches, perhaps this mark was made then. The belief was that witches or evil forces could come through any openings in a house, chimneys included. But it wasn't just that evil could come through chimneys. Fireplaces themselves could have magical properties. Harry Potter, anyone? 70 years before Matthew Hopkins was active, there was a tried and convicted witch active in Malden, in Essex. A small booklet was written about her at the time in 1579. The details in the pamphlet are revealing about the witch, Ellen Smith. The witch's 13-year-old son went to beg alms and help from their neighbour, John Eastwood of Malden. He refused to help him. The son scuttled back to his mother, telling her all about Eastwood. Immediately after the witch's son had visited John Eastwood, he with his neighbours saw a rat run up a chimney. The rat fell down the chimney, but had taken the shape of a toad. Eastwood and the other neighbours burnt the toad in the fireplace. It burnt with a bright blue flame, and at the same time Ellen was in great pain. So not only could witches enter the house via the chimney, but in the case of Malden's witches, creatures could use fireplaces to transfigure themselves. No wonder protection against evil spirits and witches had to be put over fireplaces. Other protection against witches were put in or around chimneys. Shoes stuffed up chimneys was a common one. How they were meant to protect you, I really don't know. Mummified cats, another. Also, witches' bottles that were filled with all sorts, nail clippings and urine being common contents. This next plaque is newer, either 18th or 19th century, and it is a fire mark, showing that this building was insured. In days past, there was not the concept of a modern fire brigade, such as one controlled by a county or city, for example the London Fire Brigade or Essex Fire Brigade. Today's fire brigades will go wherever they are called. They are not restricted by business or monetary considerations. But in the past, individual buildings were insured, and the insurance companies themselves had their own tentative fire brigades. These fire brigades only raced to put out fires on buildings that their company insured and left other buildings to burn. In the days before streets and roads had uniform names and numbers, it was very hard to identify an insured building, hence the fire marks and plaques. They were designed to clearly show which building had been insured and by which insurance company. Each company had their own unique emblem on the mark. Each company had their own register of insured properties kept at their offices. But these registers were very hazy, a sort of third house on the right, then down the side road and keep going, last house on the left after the pub. So these plaques were very important to identify an insured property. But I have no idea if there was a concept of stealing these plaques and putting them on your own uninsured building as it burnt. You might have a small mark on your property similar to this. It's an Ordnance Survey benchmark used to record height above Ordnance Datum Newland, ODN. These marks can be found all over Great Britain, many hundreds of thousands of them. If you are lucky enough to have a benchmark on your own home, then your property was very much part of our nation's map-making past. With technological advances, benchmarks are no longer used by our mapmakers, but they are evidence of the past and how Great Britain was once mapped. You may find other marks on your house. Photograph anything you discover and then document it on your worksheets.